Hi everyone, it's Liz here. Thank you for joining me today. I am sharing my design project for Calico Collage using Serendipity. I have also used some ephemera pieces from J9 Scraps, from Caroline's Craft Tree, and from Sacred Mementos. Now they are just ephemera pieces. All the digitals I've used are from Calico Collage. So for this altered file folder, I decided actually to use only the ephemera pieces from the digital kit. Now, I didn't use all the pieces, I used most of the pieces. This is a very giant kit, you guys. I've done some script stamping on the back here, and I just wanted to show you that what you can do with just ephemera pieces as well from a digital. This is Tim Holt's piece right here. So I've added a variety of the journaling cards and tags, as you can see. I've also included some vintage pieces, real vintage pieces within the altered file folder. Some lace, some trims, some fabric for the tabs. And then here I have a vintage envelope, which I thought would go so nicely with this copy of a very vintage postcard. This is a photocopy. The real copy is brittle, so I didn't want to use that. So I made a copy of it. And then of course this gorgeous paper clip that is from Caroline's Craft Tree, and the background pieces here are from Jana's Craft Shop. If you remove the paper clip, there was a little stamp there. I forgot to show. I stamped an image in the back there. Here I've used an envelope, and the envelope, the front of it, I've added some pockets, and the top has some vintage applique on it, and of course some additional vintage pieces. I'll link everything below, as I said, to what I've used. Here we've got some little pieces from the kit, and the idea of the pockets here came from Beth Wallen, so thank you, Beth. Here's another photocopy of a very vintage postcard, 1912, as you can see. And here we've got an alterations tag with some trims and lace and some fabric. I just thought it was such a nice addition. So the intention actually behind the altered file folder for me is to keep pieces that you can use in other projects, or you can do a quick note that you're sending something to someone or adding it to your junk journal. Here I've added some vintage wallpaper pieces that you can also use in other projects. And I just thought the balance of the vintage pieces with the digitals was such a fun idea. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I like interactive pieces as well, so I made this little flip down here. And then I just included one of the journaling cards and a coffee stained piece of paper. Now, I'm trying to remember if I said the shops. Yes, I did. If not, I'll link them below. But if you see anything that I forget to mention, please ask below and I will let you know where I got it from. So here's another pocket, and I've added more journaling cards. I did make this small file folder from some scrapbook paper, and then another photocopy of a vintage postcard, which I thought was gorgeous. I like the florals in this as well. So here's some fabric that I've added to hold down the envelope here. I did coffee stain the envelope, and then I've got some additional ephemera pieces, as I mentioned, and then this is the other vintage stationery piece that goes with the envelope. So in this glassine bag, actually behind it I've tucked in this butterfly, and I just thought it was such a cool color, so I did a little tuck spot there. And then we've got some more ephemera pieces, some lace, and some of the glassine bags that I love to use. And then on this side I made a little pocket with a doily, also holding some additional goodies. I love this card because it's in Spanish. I just did a little stamp at the top, and the stamp is also from Beth, so thank you, Beth. Here I've got some vintage trim, and I just added a little word to the envelope. And then of course you can journal on back or front, do whatever you want with that. I did make a small little journal, but I'll show you that in a minute. Here I've added some lace and some fabric and a button. And then here I have I think it's from my gardening book. Yeah, from my vintage gardening book. I just like to pull out some of the pages that were included. So in this paper bag cover, I added some ephemera pieces as well, and then a photocopy of another vintage letter As you can see here, I just really like using the vintage pieces. I think they just make a big difference. Again, parts of the digital. These are real vintage book pages. I think I've used 3 here, and these are from Sacred Mementos. Again, I'll link that below. Now, these vintage paper pieces, they do have a smell to them, like when you walk into an old bookstore and you can smell the books. Well, that's kind of the smell to those. So I just wanted to let you know, because this will be listed in my shop, and if you happen to get that little scent from the pages, it's from the vintage book. And then the back, I added another copy of that very vintage letter, as you saw in the front. So, questions, comments, please leave them below. Thank you so much for joining me. I had fun putting this altered file folder together. I loved the Serendipity kit. As you can see, all the gorgeous colors and images. And like I said, it's a giant kit, and I only used a portion of it. Thank you for stopping by.